You're listening to the Do It for Dale Hour, presented by Do It for Dale Promos.
So, welcome to the Do It for Dale Hour. As you can see, we got Miss Hana Lamont.
Hi.
Well, Hannah, how did you get into racing?
Well, in all honesty, it was something that my parents did. Like my mom, she was the first ever person to start racing. They used to race a 440 Outlaw, which was like a tiny micro sprint, but it went really fast. And my mom used to race, she did like 3 races in it on dirt, and then she met my dad, which my dad then eventually took over to racing the 440. And it all started from there. I grew up around dirt tracks. I've been to Oshwegan. I don't remember when I was a baby. I've been to Wonderland Speedway. I don't know if you've ever heard of that racetrack.
No, I have not.
It was a tiny track in a cornfield, and it was surrounded by farmland. And it was, I don't know where it was out by, but I just know it was called Wonderland Speedway. It closed a long time ago. The owner passed away, and his kids didn't want to continue it, so it was very unfortunate.
For sure.
And then as the years went on, I would think I was about 14 when my uncle and my dad my mom and my dad wasn't so sure about me getting into racing, but my uncle and my mom, they double teamed my dad and told him, hey, gotta let her race. She's gonna learn somehow. And so I got into racing the old 14, which I started at Delaware. And then my uncle took me to Grand Bend and thought it would be a better way to learn the turns because I was slow. I didn't know anything.
For sure. I've got a huge question for you.
Sure, what's up?
It's could be controversial. What's your thoughts on junior late models having two-way radios to their teams?
I honestly disagree. Like the junior late models, the tiny ones?
Yeah.
The tiny cars? Well, I honestly don't agree with it because in all personal opinion, a driver should learn how to drive without a two-way radio. They should only be able to hear the race director, and they got to learn everything themselves. I understand with like the V8 stocks, the V8 stocks, the hot rods, but even then, the V8s at Delaware don't even have a two-way radio. It's only the hot rod series, and I completely understand like the super stocks, uh, late models, and all them having a spotter because they can't exactly see what's happening ahead of them, and it makes better effort, especially with those expensive cars. Meanwhile, junior late you can replace, it just has the engine and the roll cage, and the body is fiberglass, something you make out of. And it's a learning class for a reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, for somebody being a first timer in a race car, definitely have the two-way radio just to help them out so they can get a sort of sense, but then everything else is done by themselves from there.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's a little controversial topic. I just found out about it.
It's okay.
I would thought I would ask it on here.
That's understandable.
If there was a way for you to jump into a different series, what would it be and why?
Honestly, the V8s, because they're a bigger car and it would be interesting. Actually, hold on. I would jump into the dirt series. I wouldn't stay asphalt. I would go actually to a thunder stock or even a mini stock to try it out there because honestly, it's fun driving dirt. I've taken a look peek at it and I've grown up around it my whole life, and it'd just be so much fun to go right to turn left.
Right?
I had to do that actually last week Friday. My car, it got so loose when I went through the turn, I almost hit the wall on the inside coming out of turns 3 and 4.
You put on a show and I missed it. I was at a hockey game.
Yeah, the car got
I
too
gotta go
loose
back and watch that now.
You'll be able to see it if you look at the feature. It was like the third lap, 3 laps down. We had 3 laps to go, and the car decided to go really loose. And and Colin Williams, he clipped the side of my car, and it took his bump. They didn't call the caution on me. They called it on the debris that fell off of Colin's car. It was hilarious. Everybody was like, "What's the caution?"
Right?
But yeah, it was a pretty interesting night that Friday, especially with it being Friday the 13th, even though I don't believe in bad omens. But I do believe in the knock on wood statement.
Don't we all?
I know.
Well, let's look forward to next season a little bit. What's your plans for next year?
I'm still gonna run the bone stocks, and with big news coming in, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm assuming I am. I'm going to release it. As seen on my hat, Lifto Limited Toyota Material Handling will be coming back on the car. So hooray for that. And with a lot more people, hopefully, and you as well, coming
Of
back to the
course.
car.
I've already talked to the rest of the team on bringing the rest of the team on board next year.
And they're all excited for that because honestly, we are small racers. We're all backyard racers and we don't have a lot to contribute with sponsors. But I don't know if you realize, but I run the Lamont Racing account and I create all the media stuff and all
So
that.
it was
And
you that I was talking to about that.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought it was
me.
your mom.
No. I create everything from scratch. I do it so we have something to give back to the fan community, our sponsors, just to spice things up a little bit. Just
I'd love to
something to
see
get
it.
everything going.
And to be honest, your team, from the little ones up to you, is the people I love to support the most.
We really appreciate that.
Some backyard race shops, racers. Those are the people that bring the fans to the stands, in my personal opinion.
Exactly.
Well, let's continue. Is there any trophy that you want that you don't have already?
Let's see. I've always wanted to win a Lifto trophy from Delaware, but that's not gonna happen because I gotta be really upfront for that one. But we got a lot of good contenders with good cars, so I don't know.
Right?
But that's definitely the track I've always wanted to win at, or even get a heat win. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that happens this Saturday.
Me too. As bad as that is to say, as one of your sponsors, like every driver I tell, I don't care where you run, as long as you finish the race.
And that's true.
Like most sponsors want their cars up front getting that TV time.
Exactly.
Your car's on track. You're getting us. You're showing up. You're showing the brand. That's what really matters.
Exactly. It's all about the support.
Right? What is your favorite thing about racing at Delaware?
In all honesty, it's the fact of the length of the track, the speed you pick up, the amazing people that are at that track. Like if you actually went to Delaware and talked with everybody, it's like one big happy family, and it's a track that just keeps making you want to come back. And on top of that, they have great media coverage, especially for all the newer people. They always make sure to cover those who are new. And on top of that, the turns, going 3 wide with those guys, it's fun. It really makes the thrill and the heart go racing.
I know I've been there with a buddy of mine that runs in the Oscar Hot Rods. And
It's fun.
I've been there for the whole what is it? Fall Brawl. weekends. And with APC, the hot rods, the mods, that's like my home track's Flamborough. I grew up there, not grew up there. My first ever race that I went to in Ontario was at Flamborough. I used to live
Wow,
35 minutes away before moving up
that's
here.
pretty close.
$50 Uber ride.
Flamborough's a good track.
Don't ask me
Flamborough
how
is
I
a pretty
know
good
it's a
track.
$60 Uber ride. That's a story for a different podcast, not my own.
Will
But
definitely make a good story.
right? Well, let's jump into these. We're going to jump over to the Do It for Dale Quickfire Minute, powered by the fans of Do It for Dale. This one comes from Stronco. How did you and your family get involved with racing, and what keeps you going each year?
Well, I know I already explained that a little bit in the first part, but what keeps me going into racing is the fact of the people that are there. You could have like one or two people as your pit crew, and if you broke down, there's so many people that would just come and help you. Like for Bill Daniel, for example, I don't think he was out yet. He was getting lined up to go out for his race, and his pit crew they were waiting for him to leave, and I had come in with a flat tire, and Bill Daniels said, go help her, because it was just my dad and it wasn't an easy fix in time, and they just jumped on immediately just to help. And same with Joe Kicks. Like he sat on the trailer before, and I had a bent, I think it something was bent on the car, and it wasn't an easy fix as well, and they all just jumped in. Len, Joe, um who am I forgetting? Nathan helped me once too. Like everybody that's there, they just keep bringing you back to the racetrack, and it all just sets everything up. And it's the reason why I go, just to see those faces, especially the younger audiences. Like those kids truly make it worth your while, especially with me. I've had Jaden Chapman's little boy, he comes up all the time and he tells me that I've done an amazing job, and it just gives my heart it gives my heart such a warm feeling just to know that um that there's little kids and there's people watching, just to watch a female driver out of all things, just to go around the track and have some fun.
Right? Another person I can think of that would jump in immediately is Joe and Chris Lawrence.
Of course. Joe and Chris both have actually helped me out when I got tangled up with one of their cars before, and they jumped right in just to help.
We'll move on to the next fan question. This one comes from Ricky Bobby. Who painted your rocket ship?
Well, I certainly gotta say to Ricky Bobby, aka Joe Cakes, he's the one that painted my car. He did an amazing job on the car. Before we did the reveal, I couldn't wait but just to show everybody the amazing car that he did. Like his painting skills are on point. Would you believe me if I said he painted it all by hand? Everything on that car, including the numbers, are all done by hand.
Yeah, I could tell everything besides the numbers were hand painted. I didn't know the numbers were hand painted.
Yeah, he hand painted them. He sent me some fonts and he's like, which would you like? And I'm like, I chose that one, and that's what it's on the car right now. You wouldn't think, right? But Joe is a very good artistic person. He's really good with painting. And he did his own color scheme, and he did Rob's color scheme as well.
Your next fan question comes from Dustin Johnson. What are your top 3 favorite racetracks to run at?
Well, the unfortunate part is I've only ever raced at 3 racetracks. Sadly, I have. I want to go to other tracks, but it's just all about the time and money, and that's not, see, again, we're backyard racers. We don't always have the time and money to do it. We went up to Varney, and that was a track I really enjoyed driving at, especially in my old car. It was fun how the banking is and everything. Like when you come in through, I think it's turns 1 and 2, the banking is slanted slightly, and it's kind of like you're going up and then down and then going up again on the straightaway, and I thought that was pretty cool. Delaware is definitely one of my top favorites to race at because I love the straightaways and I love the fast pace and everything. Grand Bend is my third favorite. Not only did I race there, but I started out there, and there's a lot of history and memories at that track. And it's an amazing track to learn. I definitely recommend it for any rookies to go there. And the one thing, if you ever pay attention, I don't know if you would ever see it at all, but there's pictures. I've actually hit a few of the walls there at Grand Bend, and I got to sign them. I got to sign my name. I've done some pretty interesting things at that track.
Well, that's been fan question period. Is there, besides what you're doing this weekend, because it's final weekend for Delaware, is there any
Yeah, it's the
tracks
championship.
after this weekend that you're going to try to make it out to?
One of the ones that I was kind of hoping to, but I'm not 100% sure. We may or may not, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I wanted to take my old 14 to Flamborough.
For
I wanted to give
Frostfest?
yeah, Frostfest a try. Other people have done it and said it's lots of fun. My dad's driven that track for Frostfest and he really enjoyed it. He just loved the banking system and how quick the track is. It may be small track, but it's still nice to drive. It's pretty smooth.
Well, we've already kind of hinted at and sort of asked this. Is there any more announcements you want to make? Breaking announcements you want to make
Um,
on the podcast?
well, as of right now, there is nothing new coming to the car except for the hope of possibly getting new sponsors towards the car, which I am trying to get into finding newer sponsors just to help out throughout the race season because it is an expensive race season.
Right?
um and but other than that, the only people that I know that are coming back to the car are you, Jiffy Lube, that's my work. um Runners ups, I'm hoping. I'm not sure. I think it's official though. And Lifto. And stickers and scuffs. That's another one.
Them boys over at Stickers and Scuffs. If it wasn't for them inspiring me to have this, we wouldn't be sitting here talking tonight.
Well, I'm
'Cause they're
glad
good
to hear
friends of
that.
mine.
They're a very good community. Very good community. I'm actually going to be on one of their podcasts as well.
Nice.
Hopefully.
Well,
But you
if
are
that does
actually my very
happen,
first
we here at Do It for Dale will promote the out of it.
podcast.
I guess I try to keep it family friendly as much as I can.
Always gotta keep it family friendly.
Right? Gotta attract them sponsors for their podcast.
Well, you're doing good so far. You're on a few good cars, especially ones that are doing fairly well in points and winnings, like Wally Wilson. He's another good one. Dustin doing amazing at Varney, or
Right?
Full Throttle, I should say.
Ever,
I gotta give that guy credit. He knows how to drive that car.
right? And that they just released their points tonight. Top three's 10 points between each of them.
Really?
Really?
I have yet to see it, actually.
Well, I'll bring it up right now. I have that power. I love the power of having my own podcast. Because not many people in this would do it. It's not gonna show.
Oh.
Yeah, Austin Etzel has or 1,008 or 1,088 points. Dustin Johnson has 1,078 points, and Mike Etzel has 1,068 points.
Wow, that's pretty close.
It's a good championship run this year over at Full Throttle.
I'm glad to hear that. They've definitely really changed that track out from what I've heard from other people.
Especially with the memo they put out mid-season. I am glad they put that memo out. And if
Yeah.
anybody's wondering what that memo was, it was basically that the track got sick and tired of finding cheating parts. And they started
Yep.
cracking down.
And that's good. That's what every track needs. You can't have cheaters because it sucks because you have the same winner all the time.
Right?
It doesn't make it fun for anybody else. You gotta cheat to win sometimes, and it ain't the way to do it.
I can't make a comment.
I mean, my car's stock.
I'm not talking about you. A family member of yours that I know.
Oh, I know which one.
Not naming names because he will come after me.
Oh, he knows who he is.
Yes, he knows who he is. And good on you for cheating. You gotta beat the cheaters at their own game.
Exactly. Sometimes you gotta join on the beat 'em.
Right? Because I know this person that we're talking about can drive the hell out of a car. Cheater person.
Oh, yeah. Did you know he used to drive dirt?
I can tell. I've seen him do things in race cars that I didn't think were imaginable. Kind of like how Leo Laprovera does stuff in his car.
Yeah.
Jeez. 3 weeks off has not been nice to me.
It's okay. It takes time to get back into the grooves of this spin of things, and not only
Right.
that, we're doing this pretty late.
Right. Sort of touched on this already, but who do you want to thank that gets you to the track week in, week out?
Well, I really gotta thank my mom and dad. My mom, she tows, nickname the hauler on her sweater. We got custom made sweaters. My dad's the crew chief, my mom's the hauler. I really gotta thank them both for getting me out to the track. My dad doing the setup on my car and my mom towing the car out. They really put up with the shenanigans I pull. And I also gotta thank my boyfriend for giving me tips on how to drive my own car. He's helped me with that one, improving how I drive throughout the turns and getting the speed. It's good to take the tips from everybody, and especially the help.
Right. That's how you, and then to pass it on to the next generation. Like, let's say Lucas Chapman.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's definitely one that's also improved a lot.
I've been watching quietly on his season. very quietly.
I actually work at Grand Bend, and I've watched him out there every Wednesday night, and including a couple of Saturdays.
Well, Hannah, it's been a pleasure having you on. We'll
Thank you.
talk. I'm planning around December, January. Hopefully, we've got some new stuff to talk about.
Yeah, that would be great. And it
New,
was a pleasure
new.
being on your podcast.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Hannah.